on how to effectively use the webinar. If you have questions, please feel free to ask your questions in the questions box on the GoToWebinar control panel. You may need to hit the orange arrow to expand the control panel to see the questions area. We're going to have about 40 to 45 minutes of presentation with questions and answers after. So we will go ahead and get started right now. We have two of our client services team members that will be helping us. We've got Michelle Davis, who is in Client Services and Support, and Karen Marcy. And then I'm just Vivian Larson. I'm the Client Services Support Lead, and then I'm also a writer for FlexJobs as well. So we will go ahead and get started on some great tips on how to use the advanced search, and Michelle will be presenting that for us.
Hello, everyone, and thanks, Jess, for getting the introduction set up. As she said, I am Michelle Davis. I work in Client Services, and I just want to thank you all for taking the time to listen in to our webinar. Jess is going to go ahead and take us over to the live site where I'm going to start talking about how to use our advanced search options. So we'll wait for her to get over to our site. And typically when you first log in, you're going to be on the My FlexJobs homepage. So Jess, can I have you go there real quick?
Absolutely.
Thank you. All right, so I just want to show you all how to navigate to the advanced search options. So once you log in, you're on the My FlexJobs homepage. If you look to the right of the screen, you're going to see a few different orange bars. Top one is Control Panel. And if you scroll down to the third one, you're going to see Related Job Search Options. And right below that is our Advanced Search Options. So if I can have you select that for me. Thank you. And this is a great tool to use. A few different things to say about this really quick is you can run a very broad search using this tool. You can also run a very specific search using this tool. And you can also use this to set up saved searches, which you can then access at a later time. So we'll talk about the saved searches later on. But first we'll just jump right in. So the first field you see is keywords. Now, this is a good field to use when you're looking for something very specific. So for example, you can search on the word analyst, and this will bring up any job posting that has the word in either the job title or the job description. So you can see here it's showing the first 1 to 50 results of over 1,500 job search results that have that word analyst either in the title or somewhere in the job description. One thing to note is this field does return the exact word. So if you're looking for writing positions, searching on the word writer versus writing will return different results. So we'll start with writer and see what that returns. Okay. So you can see we have 893 results. Now if we try searching on writing, we'll see what the difference is with that. Okay, so you can see this returned many more results. So it's important to kind of play around with this field, use different variations if you are going to use it. It can be very limiting to what you see, but also it can be returning a broad results like with this writing keyword. So definitely play around with that a bit. Next field is our exclude keywords. So basically this is just going to rule out certain words. So for example, if you're looking in, let's say within the HR and recruiting category. So Jess, can I have you jump down to HR and recruiting category for me really quick, please? Okay, so let's say you're looking at HR and recruiting, but you know, for example, that you do not want to conduct interviews. So you could type specifically in quotes, conduct interviews, and run a search on that. So that's going to return any of those positions in the HR and recruiting category, but that specifically do not state the keyword of conduct interviews, or the keywords. So I don't know if you want to go back and we can show the difference as to if you take those keywords out, how many different results we're going to get. Perfect. So it is slightly different, 858. So thanks for doing that, Jess. Okay. Next field we're going to go over is your U.S. location. So here you can either enter your city and state or just your zip code. You could also enter just the state for broader results. A few things to note here is this field is very important to use even if you're looking for a 100% telecommuting position. Some employers do have specific location requirements. So for example, let's go ahead and enter in Dallas, Texas as an example. And this is going to return any positions that can be done within 30 miles of Dallas, as well as any U.S. national position. So as Jess is showing us, this one position here, principal consultant, those candidates have to be located specifically in that area, as she's showing with that red icon. That's what that means. And then below that, you'll see an example with the U.S. flag. That icon indicates that the employer is open to candidates located anywhere in the U.S. The nice thing about those icons is you can always hover over them to find out what they mean. And then I'm not sure if we're going to see any, Jess, but I just wanted to also note if we have any with the U.S. flag icon showing here on this result or not. We also have, I'm sorry, not U.S. flag, the world flag. We have a blue and green, what we refer to as the world flag. Okay, there's one right there. And that just indicates that the employer is open to candidates located anywhere. So by entering in your zip code or city and state, you'll see kind of three different things. You'll see that red teardrop icon, the U.S. flag icon, and then the world flag icon. All right, thank you, Jess. All right, next field is our international field. If you reside within the United States, you don't have to worry about that. Just go ahead and leave that blank as is. But if you do reside outside of the United States, you would just want to select your country from the list there. Okay, next we have our job type selection. So this is just going to cover employee, freelance, volunteer, internships, and temporary. One thing to note with this field is you can also select multiple options. So if you're looking for both employee and freelance opportunities, you can go ahead and select both of those. And for positions classified as freelance will be contract or 1099 positions. All right, our next field is going to be our work schedule. Here's another one where you actually have the option to select multiple choices. So let's say you're looking for full-time work as well as positions that offer a flexible schedule. You can go ahead and select both of those. And just to, if I can have you bring up all those options again real quick, Jess. Flexible schedule, so full-time and part-time. Full-time is going to be at least 40 hours. Part-time will be anything less than that. Flexible schedule is going to be where you have some flexibility within that schedule to choose your own hours. And then alternative schedule, that's typically going to be weekends and evenings. You may see like a graveyard shift listed as an alternative schedule. Occasional is as it sounds, you know, on occasion. Seasonal will maybe be during the summertime or around the holidays. And then, of course, we have the long-term and short-term options as well. All right, and then for our career level, here you can search specifically on your career level, anything from entry level to senior level manager. So that comes in pretty handy. If you find that you're searching on a specific career level and let's say you're not getting very good results that you would expect them to be, maybe go ahead and try a different career level and see what that returns. Entry level is as it sounds, entry level. Experience, you'll have some experience within the field. Manager, you're going to have some type of supervisory experience. All right, and then on to our telecommuting level. A lot of people do come to FlexJobs looking for positions that are strictly work from home. If you fall into that category and are looking for strictly work from home positions, you're going to want to select the 100% telecommuting option. If you select the top option of any level of telecommuting, as it states, it's going to include every option listed below. Okay. Then next we have our categories. So here One thing that's nice about this is you can search on as many categories as you want. And one thing to note is we have top-level category as well as subcategories below it. So, for example, that one that Jess was looking at of advertising and PR or administrative. Okay, administrative. If you want to search on administrative as well as appointment setting, please note that you're going to need to go ahead and select both of those. Searching on just administrative does not include the subcategories, so you will need to select any subcategories that you're also interested in. And as I said, the great thing about this is you can select as many categories here that you want to search on. And then another thing to note is leaving this category field blank will search on all of those categories. And that's the same thing with all these other fields. If you leave any of them blank, it's going to search on all options. All right, and then travel. Travel's pretty easy. If you are open for traveling, yes. If you definitely are not, you would select no. And then if you're not quite sure, you can always select the maybe option. And again, if you leave this blank entirely, it's going to search on all of those for you. All right, and then our last one is our featured and award-winning employers. So for example, if you know you only want to work for a Fortune 500 company, you could come through here and find our Fortune 500 companies option. And let's just run a search and see what that does. Okay, so that returns, we have currently over 3,000 Fortune 500 companies, and as Jess is showing us on that accolade, if you hover over it, it states that the employer is a Fortune 500 company. And with all those other accolades, you can also hover over them to see what they mean. All right, thanks, Jess. Okay. You know what, Jess, if I can just have you run a search again for the Fortune 500, that would be great. And I just wanted to point out how people can narrow the search down further.
Sure.
Thanks. So if you're searching specifically on Fortune 500, but you know, for example, that you don't want any temporary or any freelance positions, on the right side of the screen where you see job type, you could narrow this down further. Let's say you only want an employee position. You can go ahead and select that, and that's going to narrow your results down further. All right, so you can see that it changed us to just under 3,000. And then you can also remove it, as Jess did just there, and that brings you back to all the other options once you've selected temporary. Okay, so just a few things to mention with using the advanced search option tool. If you find that your results are too limited, let's say you're entering something into every specific field there, sometimes that can limit your results a little bit too much. Sorry, I'll wait for us to get back onto the advanced search screen.
You're fine.
All right, thanks, Jess. So if you find that you're not getting very many results, we typically recommend starting with 3 fields and see what that returns for you. And those 3 fields that we recommend are going to be your U.S. location, if you do reside in the United States, any of the job categories that you're interested in, and then that last one is going to be the telecommuting level that you're interested in. And that's a good base to start with using a search here. If you find that it's returning too broad of results, then you can go ahead and narrow it down further, but we definitely recommend starting with just those 3. And one thing to note about using the keywords, they can work great, but if you're entering in too many keywords, that can definitely be limiting your search results too much. So definitely keep an eye on what all you're entering there in the keyword section, and maybe play with taking some of those out if you're not seeing the results that you'd like to see. So here's a great example where just typed in blog, and now we're only looking at 5 results. Okay, and then one thing I wanted to cover was how to save a search. So let's maybe save this one with blog here just as the keyword. Okay, so you have on the top right, you have the option to save this search. So if I could have you select that for me. And then as you can see, it has changed to job search saved. So let me tell you how we can navigate to those saved searches. So Jess, if I can have you take us to the My FlexJobs homepage. All right, and then under, well, a couple ways. One, if you scroll down, we do have, oops, I'm sorry, Jess. Yes, okay, so we do have our saved search option under the job search activity. So if you select that, and then let's see, the one that has today's date, 9/24/15, that's going to be that search result that we just saved. So by selecting that link, it's going to run that search. So if you found a search criteria that is looking to show some really good results for you, I would definitely recommend saving it. Then you can go back under your saved searches and click on that link at any time, and it'll pull up the new current results for you. And then the other way to access that is on the right under your control panel. We have our job search activity, and then again, all the way down, we have the saved searches option. And from this option, if I can have you select that, Jess, here we can actually delete any saved searches that you don't want. And you can set up as many saved searches as you would like to have. Okay, so you can also select as just their saved search, and it'll bring or show all saved searches. You just need to click on the X, and that's going to go ahead and remove that search from your list if you know you're no longer wanting that. And you can also reorganize the way the searches are shown. So if, for example, that one on July 30th, like you saw, Jess just grabbed that and pulled it to the top, and that's going to bring that to the very top of her job search, saved searches. Okay, and I think that that pretty much covers how to use the Advanced Search Option tool. Jess, did I happen to miss anything? Or anything else you want to cover on that?
No, I think that that sounds great. I think we'll go ahead and hand over the resume profile building for Karen, and she'll go ahead and walk us through how to set up a resume profile. Thank you, Michelle.
Sure, thank you.
Hi, this is Karen. Thanks, Michelle, for the tips on the advanced search. Again, yep, my name's Karen, and I'm going to be covering the resume profile section of the site. It's really a good tool to have, and there's a couple of reasons for having that. So, Jess, if you could go back to the PowerPoint presentation, we will start out there. Okay. So, here are some of the reasons why it's good to have a resume profile and what it's going to do for you. It'll help you automate your job search, so you'll put in specific information for our system to search for you, which will alert you to, it's called your new jobs of interest. So our system's running a search and sending you new jobs that meet the criteria that it thinks might be a good fit for you. It will also allow you to apply with our featured companies. Those are our employers who want you to apply through our website at FlexJobs rather than applying on their own website. And for our members who don't currently have their own resume copies on your desktop, maybe a Word document, you also have the capability to create a resume and a PDF. You can create a PDF to apply for positions using that in the tool. Okay, Jess, if you want to head over to the next slide. All right, so I kind of just mentioned our featured employers. So there's two types of employers that we have on our job. Our featured employers are those employers who come to our company directly to post their jobs. They are screened and approved by our staff. Again, they can post their jobs directly to our site. They can also search for our members. As long as you have your privacy settings set up, those companies can search for you directly and contact you if they're interested in touching base with you. On the right-hand side, you'll see the job titles for our featured companies will be in orange, where it says Web Content Writer. You'll also see an FJ logo. It does say FJ now. It looks a little bit different from that. But you'll also see when you're applying for a job with a featured company that wants you to apply through our site with your resume profile, this blue box is going to say apply for this job. So when you see that, you know that you'll be attaching your resume profile. The second type of employer are our external employers. These are companies that our job researchers have found through outside websites. They are also screened by our job researchers and verified for legitimacy. These companies do not post their jobs directly to our site, and they cannot search for you based on your resume profile. You'll see on the right, their job titles are in blue, so you'll know that's an external employer. And the apply link looks a little bit different. It says to apply or learn more, go to the original job post. What that will do, it will take you, when you select that link, it's going to take you to the employer website directly to fill out their application on their website and to go from there. All right, Jess. One last slide before we go to the live site. Some tips before we get into the resume profile. You can always create more than one. You may want to, like we talked about, have a writer profile. You may want to have a business analyst profile. You can create as many as you want. You definitely want to use clear, concise, and catchy titles for each profile. You do want separate profile titles so you can differentiate between the two. You also want to fill out as much information as possible, and we'll go through that. You'll have a privacy status, so you can set that. And one of the most important things is your job categories and the job details. And so at this time, Jess, if you'd like to navigate over to the live site, we'll actually get into a profile. So there's a couple of ways to navigate, a couple of different ways to navigate to your resume profile. One, you can click on your name in the upper right, and you can select My Resume Profiles. Basically what that's doing is taking you to the bottom of this home page. So you can also scroll down to the very bottom of the page, but you'll also see when you click on that to be taken from when you click on your name, it's going to take you directly to that area. So here we have two profiles that are currently set up that we'll look through. You'll see the titles. The first one, Experienced Writer, Seeking Blog Writing Flexible Position. You can go in, and if you have a current profile already, some of you may already have a current profile set up, these links on the lower right of each profile will let you view, edit, download a PDF, or delete. We get lots of questions on that sometimes if you've accidentally set up more than one profile. Those are the links you can use, that delete link. Or if you need to go in and change something, you can select the edit link. For our purposes, we're going to start on a new profile. So we'll click that blue box, Create New Profile. It'll ask you if you're sure if you want to do that, and you just select yes. All right, so this is the first page that you'll be on when you get into the profile. The first tab you start on is the About Me tab. And an important thing to see here is this light blue box up at the top that says, in order to activate your profile, the following fields are required at a minimum. So as you work your way through each tab of the profile, and we work through each section, this little blue box should get smaller. So once that light blue box is gone, you'll know your profile is all set and good to go. And you'll see that as we work through how that works. So the first area of the profile is going to be your profile title. Profile title is very important. We do recommend you put some thought into your title. Never use your name in your profile title. It's just going to be descriptive words or key phrases about what you're looking at or what your expertise is. You don't want your personal information within the profile because profiles can be found by search engines. So for security reasons, we don't want you to put that in there. As well, within each box, as we're working through the profile, you'll see in the upper right, there's a little tips box. If you select that tips box, it'll bring up great information that you can always reference back to. Anywhere on the site, you'll see this on the advanced search too. There's little tips areas. Those are always good to check out. Great information in there if you forget or just want to make sure that you're filling out the boxes as you should be. Great tips in there. So you can just X out when you're done. The next area is the contact information. Within each box, you're always going to use the edit box. So edit contact information, and this is information about you. So your email, one thing to note on email addresses is, because you're searching for a job, you always want to make sure you have a professional email address. Phone number is explanatory. The website address you can enter into there if you have a portfolio or your own website, you want to link that, you can do that. You can have your LinkedIn profile. You would just copy and paste the link right there into the website area. City, state, and zip. It is important that you have all three of those. Say, for instance, if you just put the United States, our system is just going to be searching for jobs for any city and state within the United States. So you want to make sure you have your city listed as well, because that'll help our system identify positions just in your city. And then after you fill out each box, of course, you want to make sure you click the Save box. And then on to the next section, the picture. This is completely preferential. We get a lot of questions, do I have to put a picture? No, you don't have to, it's up to you. You do want to keep in mind, again, this is your professional self, so if you are entering a photo, you want to make sure it's a professional picture. It is kind of nice for employers because it helps put a face to the name, but again, it's completely preferential, so if you don't feel comfortable, if you don't want to, you can go ahead and leave that blank. It should not deter anyone from looking at your profile or contacting you. And then we're on to the profile privacy status. So when we edit the privacy, there's three options you have. You can make your profile completely inactive and private. That means no one can search for you, anything like that. Active and private is actually what we recommend. That makes your profile viewable only to the approved employers on our site, so they can search for you. You can apply for their positions, but no one outside of FlexJobs can see that. Active and public is exactly what it sounds like, completely public profile. Anyone on a search engine could potentially find you. We don't recommend that. Again, we recommend the active and private. And then you can click Save once you've got that saved. Your home office is pretty self-explanatory. You're going to be entering information on the computer equipment you have, what kind of internet connection, and other various office equipment. And that's nice for an employer to see what you have. And of course, save. Next is the military status. Again, another optional field. You can certainly fill that out if it's applicable. And save. So you can navigate to the next tab in the lower right there where it says Next Tab. In addition, you can access those tabs on the top, right below the light blue box. Now we're into the My Job Search area. So summary of qualifications is just a 2 to 3 sentence statement describing yourself, maybe what your goals are. Again, make yourself stand out, kind of highlight some of your skills. And then we will save that. Job categories. Now this is an important area. These are the categories that our system is going to search on for you for your new jobs of interest. You can select 5 job categories maximum per profile. So again, like I kind of spoke about before, if you have maybe 10 categories of jobs that you want to search for, you can have 2 separate profiles with 5 job categories each. You definitely want to list the types of categories you're interested in and qualified for. And once those are on, you're going to save. Next is the job detail area. this is important as well. You're going to list the types of jobs you're looking for. So maybe you just want employee jobs. You don't want any freelance, temporary, volunteer, internships. And then you want to select the schedules that you're interested in. And remember, you can always go back and update these. You can put the entries in and decide what, look at your new jobs of interest and see the results you're getting, and then always go in and update them. You definitely want to have your career level, your education level, your desired salary and pay. That's completely optional. You can put that in there. You don't have to. If you're going to enter a pay scale, you want to make sure you don't completely, rate yourself so high that you're going to eliminate yourself from postings, or an employer is going to say, oh my, that's way too high, we're not going to pay that. You also don't want to undercut yourself. So it's a good idea if you are going to put a pay in that you know like a standard rate for your industry, and that's kind of accurate where you're putting that in there. And other compensation, you can also enter specific benefits you may be looking for. We at FlexJobs, we like ice cream, so we always put ice cream in our benefits. Thanks, Jess. Okay, we'll save that. The next is the job type flexibility. Because we do offer different types of flexible jobs on the site, you can select specifically what you're looking for. It may be a combination, or it may just be telecommuting. If you do select a telecommuting level, you want to make sure that you select that drop-down box. And if you're willing to travel or not is important too. Your availability and schedule. Again, you want to be honest and open in what you're putting in these things. You don't want to say that you're ready to work evenings and you can start as soon as possible, but that's really not the case. All right, then we'll go on to the next tab. The next tab is where you can upload your resume. A lot of our members do currently have a resume, and that's perfectly fine. You can go ahead and click the Add Resume, and you'll search for the file on your computer to get that attached, and then save. You'll know, we get questions on this as well, you'll know that your resume is attached when you see that file listed. So you'll know, you can't click on your resume right there and bring it up, but you'll know that the file is attached. We also recommend, and this is for your resume that you upload to the FlexJobs site, that you remove your contact information, such as your name, address, email, phone. Just for the one that you're putting onto FlexJobs, we recommend that so we can abide by your privacy status that you have listed on that first tab, the About Me tab. And some people worry that an employer won't know how to contact them, but if it's a featured employer where you're applying for the job on our site, they will be able to see your information on that About Me tab. So they'll see the whole of your profile. So that's what we recommend for the resume. The second box, uploading work samples. Some companies, and it depends on your profession, you may have work samples. Some companies may say, you're applying for a writing job, we'd like to see some samples. You can also put those in here. We recommend ones that you feel strongly about, that are really going to show your professional qualifications and help sell you as a job candidate. And we recommend that you don't upload more than 5. This area of the site is really meant to give an employer an idea of what you do, not to be your complete online portfolio. So, and then if you ever need to, like, you'll see the delete button over there on the right. You can delete any work sample, as well as if you wanted to remove the resume that you have because you've created a new one, you'll just click Edit Resume, and then you'll see the delete box. And then you can go from there in uploading a new one. It's only one resume per profile that you can upload. And then we'll go on to the next tab, which will be the Build Resume tab. Now, not all of you may use this area of the site, but this is where our job seekers who do not currently have a file to upload where you can create your resume. We have the format here. It's a nice format. So you'll fill out each box with basic information, just like you would a regular resume. And then once we have everything filled out, it'll create a nice format for you where you can actually create your own PDF and apply for positions. And Jess, if you want to add a second one, I'll show you once you get your experience in. I will show you how you can sort the positions. Alrighty, thank you, Jess. So on the left-hand side, you'll see the two little arrows. You can use that to drag and drop and sort your jobs if you have a lot of jobs, or if you happen to enter anything out of order. Just a tip for you. And it's best when when you're building your resume, it's best to include only work experiences that are relative to your type of work that you're interested in doing. And you can also highlight your transferable skills. We recommend, the last 7 years is good to have within your experience. The further you get out, it might not be as relevant, unless that's all you have. If you need to do that, you can. All right, the next box will be the education. Pretty self-explanatory on there. And the same thing here. If you have more than one entry, maybe you did your undergraduate and your graduate work at different schools, you can enter both, and you can always sort with the little arrows in the left next to the education. The skills, you can add skills that you are interested or that you're good at, maybe Excel or maybe all Microsoft, all the Word things, and you can enter your proficiency, pardon me, in each one, so your skill level. Languages, you can also add as well. Again, pretty self-explanatory. It's always good to list those, and if you're fluent or what your level is. Certificates and memberships, these are good to have just to show maybe employers that you are interested in continuing education. Many professions have specific certifications that go along with them. It can show really that you're committed to your industry and career on those. The honors and awards, by all means, include any relevant honors and awards you've earned. It's a fantastic way to kind of highlight, your achievements. So definitely, if you have those, put those in there. All right, the next tab is the My PDF tab. Now, this can confuse people sometimes too. You can use that PDF tab to save a link to your PDF resume on your system. So again, you can use that resume profile to apply if a company has you applying on their website directly, and you're using the profile as your resume, you can create that and enter that into the employer website. This picture here is what your profile will look like when it's filled out. It'll be complete. Again, you can go back and edit anything. You'll also see there's skills tests. So any skills tests that you take on the site, if you score a 70% or above, that will reflect within your resume profile. We'll kind of talk about that after we get out of the profile, but you can remove any tests, you can retake them. But this is kind of an idea of what your profile is going to look like when you've used that build resume. If you don't use the build resume, you're probably not going to use that My PDF tab very frequently because you've already got your resume uploaded. Yes, and in the upper right where it says View My Profile, If you select that, this is what a hosted employer would see. And if you scroll down to the very bottom, you'll also see any attachments you have. So this is where the employer will click on your resume or your work sample. And again, if you're in the edit mode on that on the upload resume tab, you're just going to see the file name. But if you want to see and actually click on the link, you would need to go to the view my profile. Okay, Jess, now if you could navigate back to the home page for me, the My FlexJobs home. Once we have our profile filled out, right under your message inbox, there's your new jobs of interest. So if you expand the new jobs of interest box, Jess, again, these are the jobs that our system identifies as it might be a good fit for you. These jobs aren't always going to be an exact fit. Our system is going to be searching on your location and your job categories. So it can be kind of confusing. Say maybe if you put customer service as one of your job categories, conceivably you could be receiving jobs for maybe nurses. The reason for that is because that nursing position, one of the job categories assigned to that job could be customer service. So each job on our site can have up to 5 different job categories assigned to it. So the new jobs of interest, again, it's just a broad search. We'd rather send you jobs that might be a good fit than have you completely miss that job. So you will have to self-select from those positions that you see. And that's why we always recommend doing the advanced search in addition to looking at those new jobs of interest. And then one final, well, actually 2 things. Jess, if you could go back into the profile, I just wanted to let you know there is a video that you can watch on the edit. Oh yeah. Help on creating a profile. Over there on the right-hand side, there's a little video that you can watch. You can also select the tips in that area too. Anywhere where you see those tips on our site, it will pull up tips for you. And one more mention about the skills tests. You can get to the skills test from the control panel. You can either take a test or you can view your results. And you can take the skills test as many times as you like. If you want to retake a test, you just have to wait 24 hours before you retake the test. Again, only scores that are 70% or above will reflect in your resume profile. If you take a test and you get 75% and you still don't want that within your profile, you can go to your test results and you'll see that X on the far right. You can select that and that will actually delete the test. So you can, even the tests you do bad on, you can delete them, or you can even leave them in there to kind of compare to see how you've done. Our job seekers use these tests in different ways. Some take the test to highlight their current skills. As well, you will see some of our featured employers select some of those skills tests. They'll recommend that you take certain skills tests with your application. So it's preferential if you want to take those skills tests when they're asking for it, but obviously, if an employer is asking you for it, we highly recommend that you do go ahead and take those tests. They're a great tool on the site, and a lot of people use them, as well as a lot of our featured employers do like those tests to kind of gauge where your skills are. So I think that's it for the skills test, and I think that's it on my end. If anyone, Jess, if there's anything to add, otherwise we can head back over to the PowerPoint presentation and maybe take some questions. So yeah, so that's just the tips. The next slide is reminding you of the little video within the profile that you can always reference. And All right, now I think we're ready to field some of your questions.
Absolutely. So there's a couple little things that I'd also like to touch on quickly before I start answering some questions. So if you guys want to start typing in some general questions or any details or things you'd like us to explain further about the advanced search or the resume profile, this is definitely a great time to do that, and I will look through and get those answered as time permits. A couple things that I like to let people know. One of the great things on our site that we definitely like to see our users utilize is the FlexJobs job search tips and help area. This is our blog, and we have lots of information about different career-changing opportunities, how to spot a job scam, different things that we're seeing in the news, the companies that are being very supportive of flexible work. So all of that information is listed on the blog. Additionally, this webinar will actually be recorded and placed onto this Flexible Resources tab. So you'll have the ability to view this at a later time or view any other recorded webinars that we may have done in the past with other employers or career experts. So definitely a great option and resource for our users to take advantage of. Another thing that I would like to point out, when you are a FlexJobs member, you can refer friends. So if you're using the site and finding that it's very helpful for you, you can actually get a free month for anyone who signs up off of your unique link on the site itself. So it's a great way to share the word if you are looking to let people know that you are using the site. We definitely like to say thank you to anybody who does refer us, so you will get that free month. And then the last thing that I do like to point out is that we do have special partner offers for our members, and these are savings and resources for our members that we have with different companies that offer different services. So for example, we have relationships with Bench Prep, Resume Deli, lots of different companies. And so if you're looking for someone to really look at your resume or maybe help you write a cover letter, they do a great job at that, and they offer 20% off to our members only. So if you're looking for things to get your home office set up, we definitely have co-working space member saving partners. We have health savings. We also have business resources, retail. So definitely while you're a member, if there are any of these services that you are wanting to take advantage of, we would definitely recommend checking out those companies and making sure that you're getting the full benefits of your membership. So having said that, let me go ahead and start going through these questions, and we'll see if we can get some of these answered here. So we have a question, is there any way to see how many people have applied for a position? Karen, do you want to answer that one?
Sure. Actually, no. There's not. We don't have the capability to see how many. You as a job seeker won't have the capability to see how many people have applied for certain positions.
All right, great. And let's see here. We have the question, can an employer see if you have multiple resume profiles?
Sure. Our featured employers they search based on job categories. So conceivably, if you had, multiple profiles in maybe the same job category that the employer was searching for, maybe they're looking for administrative. If they're searching on that job category, if you have more than one profile with that category listed, yes, they could see, both profiles. If your categories are completely different, they're only going to see the profile. If the administrative is only listed in one, they will only see that one profile.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Michelle, we have a question about the search. Under the international search, on the advanced search, it says, when would you use the work from anywhere and how? So let me pull that up really quick.
So that's a good question. Let's say, for example, you don't see your country listed there. You could go ahead and select the job that can be done from anywhere, because that by default will include your location.
Additionally,
So,
it's a great way if you're going to be traveling too. If you aren't going to be in one specific location, that's another way to search that.
That's a great point. Thanks, Jess.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a question. If a profile shows incomplete, why would that be?
Oh yes, great question. And I actually forgot to show you that that light blue box had been removed once we were in the profile. So Jess, if you would just take out, the job categories. If you see that your profile is incomplete, it means that one section of that profile has not been completed and it still needs to be completed. So once we get this out, let's see, there we go. Maybe the summary of, or the profile title. Let's try taking the.
Yeah, sorry. I'm trying to pick
no problem.
the easiest one here.
Okay, so now if we go back to the FlexJobs home, just so you can visually see, and then scroll to the bottom where the profiles are. So that's where you're going to see it's incomplete. Again, incomplete, just while we're right here, means something is missing. Inactive, that one on the top, the red one, inactive, that means your privacy status is set as inactive. So inactive, incomplete are two different things. Incomplete, you still need to complete something. So you go into Edit, and that light blue box will be there. So this will tell you what you need to complete in order to activate your profile. And once we save this, you'll see that light blue box will be removed from the profile. See, the light blue box is gone. And when you go back to the resume profiles on the home page, you will then see it's active.
Perfect. Do we have, could you use the upload work samples area for letters of recommendation? And you definitely can.
Go ahead, Jess.
Sorry, Karen. You definitely can. It's up to you. Oftentimes, employers will ask for references if they're looking for them. So the work samples are really specifically more for if you're a writer, for example, if you have some writing that you've done that you would want to attach. If you're a web developer, a graphic designer, something that would have a visual component that really kind of speaks to your individual branding as a job seeker. That's really what that's designed for. Of course, if you really want to include those there, you're more than welcome to do that. But employers would typically be looking for more of a work sample there than a letter of recommendation. All right, let's see here. We've got another question. Can one put a negotiable salary in the resume profile instead of a specific salary range?
I don't, from what I'm thinking right now, I don't think there, like when you put in your pay, I don't believe there's a drop-down box that would say negotiable.
Yeah, you have to have a single pay rate, not a pay range.
Oh, yeah.
So if you want to negotiate, you definitely can, but I would suggest just leaving that blank in that case as opposed to trying to put in a salary range.
Yep, thanks, Jess.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, let's see here. Kind of with that, if you have that negotiability, you can definitely put that in the other compensations and benefits if you would like to. That's kind of a follow-up question for that. There's a couple different areas if there's specifically information that you'd be wanting to give an employer. If you have that type of flexibility, you could put it in your other compensations or benefits. Another option too, when you go to apply for a hosted employer position on the site, just a moment, let me pull one up here. You will be entering a cover letter for that employer. And so when you go to click on that job, when you say apply for this job, there's a cover letter. So you will be expected to put in a cover letter. So any information about salary or negotiations like that, you can definitely put on your tailored cover letter that you would be submitting with your resume profile. And one other thing while we're here, so you would enter your cover letter here, and you've got different formatting options here for the cover letter. And then you'll have this drop down, and you can choose different active profiles that you would want to attach. So if you have more than one resume profile, this is how you would select specifically what the employer saw. This is also demonstrating very clearly why you would want to have different titles, because if you have different information or different resumes, you would want to make sure that you're attaching the correct one, so that you aren't sending an employer, you know, if it's for a writing position, you're not sending them your sales resume, for example. Next question that we have, and this will be the final one that we take today, is do you recommend a cover letter always? Generally speaking, the answer to that is yes. We've got a lot of really great information on how to write cover letters, things not to say in cover letters, and the importance of why that can really make the difference in getting an employer's attention. A highly tailored cover letter can make a job seeker substantially more successful. It shows an interest specifically in the employer, and it should be different information than what you're including on your resume, so it gives them an additional chance to see if you're a good fit for the type of position they're offering. So it's definitely a great way to differentiate yourself and get noticed in a job market where, you know, that can be something that's very frustrating for job seekers, is to feel that their resume was never viewed. So I would definitely recommend checking out that area if you have not before, because there's some great information there. And we have reached the top of the hour, so just one last thing that I want to let everyone know. Again, you can view the recorded webinar on the blog itself. Additionally, if you have any other questions that we didn't answer here, or anything that comes up as you're using your FlexJobs membership, please feel free to use the contact page. It's at the bottom of any of the web pages on FlexJobs.com. We have some great commonly asked questions right here, so if you ever want to check those out, some frequently asked questions or a simple guide to using FlexJobs, those are there. And then if you don't see a way to get your question answered there, we're available by phone, and then you can also email us, and we do have a live support chat during our regular business hours. So there's a couple of different ways to get a hold of our staff if you have any more questions. So having said that, thank you so much, Michelle and Karen, for coming and working through all of those great details on how to use the site. Definitely don't hesitate to go to FlexJobs.com if you have any more questions. Thank you everyone for attending. We wish you the best of luck in your job searches and your careers.